And my next guest says it's a buying opportunity. Let's bring in Mark Mahaney. He's head of internet research at Evercore ISI, along with our very own Deirdre Bosa. Mark, what do we know, what don't we know about what's actually going on with Google search? And this was after they just had that great quarter where search, advertising was better than expected and all that.
Well, I think you take Q's comments at face value. You just need some context around them. First is Google did put out a statement last night suggesting or stating that their query growth is still positive, even coming from Apple devices. Secondly, it's possible that the Safari search query declines actually just reflects Safari market share losses. Third, as you just pointed out, Kelly, at the end of the day, what matters to the P&L is the search revenue growth, and that's been consistent at low double digits, slightly better than what would have been expected for the last 7 quarters. You do have the Google I/O event coming up in about 2 weeks, and I think there's plenty of room here for, the growth is clearly slow. I mean, the search is a mature business. There's no doubt about it, but it's probably a sustainable low single-digit percent, query growth business, and if they continue to improve the quality of those searches, both for consumers and especially for advertisers, people will bid up for higher quality search leads. And so my take on it is that Google's search revenue business, the growth is intact. You buy this correction.
Deirdre, what can you add? What do we know about Google's position in search right now vis-a-vis competitors and AI?
Well, what we know about investors is that they're worried, and this only raises anxiety. It really paints sort of the bear case that investors have been worried about really since ChatGPT went viral. Google has been sort of taking its time, you could argue, releasing things like AI overviews or AI mode to try and not totally cannibalize its search business. But what I think Eddie Q's comments told us yesterday is that this is all happening really, really quickly, and Google may not have the time it thinks it has to experiment with these things. Its business is being, eaten from the outside by players that Eddie Q mentioned, like a Perplexity, like an Anthropic, like an OpenAI. So it happens slowly at first and then all at once, and I think that's what those comments yesterday raised the idea of, is that this is all happening faster than we thought. And I will say, though, I agree with Mark Mahaney in the sense that Google has been notching a lot of AI wins recently. I mean, Gemini 2.5 Pro has been top of the leaderboards. Its integration, its distribution footprint. Google is moving faster than we've seen it move in years. However, is it fast enough? This certainly raises the stakes for I/O, which is in just a few weeks. It's going to have to pull out all the stops to really change this narrative that I think will stick around, thanks to those comments from Eddie Q, is that it's not able to turn this business fast enough, and that innovator's dilemma is very, very real that investors were already worried about.
Mark, I'll turn it back to you, and it's like I can sort of see both sides of this. I can see that Google shares might continue to do well. I can see that maybe search drops, but not in a hugely consequential way. But I'm also paying $20 a month for ChatGPT. I use it all the time. I was joking how I used it to ask a question about prosciutto yesterday that I normally would have Googled. So as I watch my own behavior, it's obvious a major change has taken place.
I think that's true. I also think a lot of this is really within Google's own hands. Look, you either innovate or you're going to lose share. And that's been the case with Google for some time. But the competitive threat is greater now. But they also have resources. And I watched Sundar Pichai's very first Google I/O presentation 8 years ago. And he was talking about AI back then. I don't know that they've deployed it quickly enough. But I think they've ramped it up to Deirdre's point. And then I got to step back and think about the stock. So we're at 15 times earnings. Now, I get the challenge with the search business. I think it can sustain high single-digit, probably low double-digit growth. But then I'll also throw in YouTube. Then I'll also throw in Google Cloud. And then I'll also throw in this wonderful option value in Waymo. And if you're going to put Google at a discount to the market with that collection of assets that I just laid out, a company with $100 billion in cash, aggressively buying back stock, and finally aggressively managing expenses, hey, I just think it's a great DHQ, dislocated high-quality stock. I like this opportunity in Google right here.